current between what Okay, welcome you all to the teaching on two truths from the Four Buddhist Tenet Systems, with emphasis on ultimate reality according to Madhyamka and Prasangika, organized by Choe Khor Sum Ling, as supported by Tibet House, Delhi, the Cultural Center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Okay, we'll do a quick refuge in bodhicitta practice. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Let us recite the mantra in praise of dependent origin mantra 3 times together. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessation of the causes as well as taught by the great seer. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha. Okay, we'll read the foundation of all good qualities, which is like the blueprint or the roadmap for enlightenment from where we are till the Buddhahood. It is on page 42, the foundation of all good qualities, page 42. With the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas visualized, and your two parents and all of family members, including children and all sentient beings around you, the foundation for all good qualities is a kind and a perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me to always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Let by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all other migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in Supreme Bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I've pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of karma abiding in special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges of my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the 8 teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may quickly attain the state of Vajratara. Okay, now is the Madhyamika, two truths according to Madhyamika, with emphasis on Prasangika's ultimate reality. The Buddha, in terms of the turnings of the wheel of Dharma, we all know that the Buddha did it. They say, broadly speaking, 3 turnings wheel of Dharma. And second turn of wheel of Dharma is with the emphasis on the Madhyamika philosophy of how there is no objective existence, how there is no true existence, and how there is no independent existence. Everything, including emptiness, including ultimate reality, is dependent and originated. This is what is taught in the second turn of wheel of Dharma. So second turn of wheel of Dharma, just for information, is that the teachings happening, when the teachings are given by the Buddha, it is done on 2 levels. One is the explicit level and the other implicit level. Explicitly, the Buddha taught emptiness of objectivity, emptiness of intrinsic reality. And whereas on the implicit, the content, the Buddha taught the whole minor path, the roadmap of enlightenment, how one can possibly achieve enlightenment, Buddhahood, all these practices in detail. So the basic aspiration, say the great compassion, then the bodhicitta, And of course, in between altruism, then the bodhicitta, then one's general bodhicitta, the 6 perfections and the 10 perfections, and the 4 means of gathering the students and so forth. All these were taught in such a great detail as implicit content matters of the second turning wheel of Dharma, whereas explicit is all on the ultimate reality, emptiness. Okay. From continuation from where we left this morning we touched a very important point, saying all the let's say the 4 schools, let's see them in the form of steps or the staircase to the ultimate enlightenment or ultimate awakening, waking up from the sleep of, say, the sleep. You wake up partially, and then more, and then full waking up in terms of the knowing of the reality. So there, first, Vaibhashika, it is like fully in sleep, just sucked up in the dream, and you don't even have a clue that you are somewhere. It is a dream. You have no clue, which means that the Vaibhashika officially they don't really speak about things existing by the power of the mind. It's all how we say things. In fact, naturally, the first step should be the closest to the ground, and we are the samsaric beings on the ground. And then they say, in order to climb the steps to the fun enlightenment, Buddhahood, the first step should be closest to the ground, which is very close. Vaibhashika, which is very close. And how the Vaibhashika's presentation, acceptance of the views, acceptance of the reality, is very much close to the ordinary people's thinking in terms of the philosophy. And in terms of the contents, it's so vast. For example, if you study the Abhidhamma Kosh by Acharya Vasubandhu, and likewise if you study the Path of Purification by, I think, Buddha Ghosh, or by the Sri Lankan scholar, the Path to Purification is purely from Theravada tradition point of view. And that, you study that, you see that it's so vast, it's really vast in terms of the subject matter. So there, what I'm saying is that in terms of the subject matter, the vastness there, but in terms of the philosophy, ordinary people's thinking in terms of philosophy and the Vaibhashika's artisan philosophy is not too far away, it's very close. Then the South Tantric school, that philosophy officially and formally brought the revolution to our thinking, saying that not that everything should be the way they appear to us. There are things, some which exist the way they appear to us, some they don't exist. They exist very differently from how they appear to us. They exist by the power of your mind. So imputation by the power of the imputation by the mind, or in other words, the subjectivity was introduced. And keep in mind, this morning we emphasize so much on that part. When we speak about the subjectivity, the different schools, same, the Vaibhashika, when we press what do you mean by permanent phenomena, what do you mean by what do you mean by permanent phenomena, impermanent phenomena, distinguishing these. If you push, they have to speak something about the imputation, but officially and formally, they don't really speak about it as much. They more like quote. They more like quote the Buddha. That's it. They follow the Buddha's teachings verbatim. Whereas the South Tantric school, from there, then the thinking, that you are made to think that things don't exist on the part of which, for example, all the impermanent phenomena, they really exist as so substantial, objectively, substantially there. Objectively, substantially there. But then the permanent phenomena, no, they exist by the power of your imputation. So the subjectivity was introduced there. And then from this school, this is the revolution to your understanding of the mode of existence of phenomena. Revolution, which means that you can't believe. Earlier, whatever exists should necessarily exist purely from the object, nothing to do from the subject. For the first time, South Tantric school saying that no, that's not true. There are things which exist by the power of
your imputation. So there, and then this is the revolution in the understanding of mode of existence. From this, then, as you go higher, Chedamatra, Svatandra Madhyamika, Prasangika Madhyamika, as you go higher, then we see that this understanding of the subjectivity becomes subtler, still more subtle. Okay, this is how it progresses. For that matter, the subjectivity means that you are dissolidifying the object. Dissolidify the object. To what degree you dissolidify the object, for that, it depends on which philosophy that you are following. So, the best way by which to understand things very succinctly, that subjectivity, and in a loose sense, most people will say subjectivity as opposed to objectivity. So now that we are studying the two truths according to the four the Buddhist schools, the subjectivity and as opposed to, and that is something so important. The label subjectivity is the same used by all these three schools, but what it negates when you say that, okay, this flower, oh, this flower is mine. When I say that this flower is mine, explicitly I say that this flower is mine, but implicitly I'm saying that it is not yours. So that being yours is negated. Being yours is negated. This is one thing. Then, likewise, when it says subjective, if the things are subjective, subjective means that you are negating something. So in a loose sense, we'll say the objectivity is rejected. No, when you go into more deeper analysis, then we go into the nuances. Why I'm saying this is so important. Subjectivity as opposed to what? You have to identify what is being negated when you proclaim, when you espouse the concept of the subjective. What is negated? That differs from school to school. This is what we need to keep in mind. Otherwise, simply because then we say that, okay, all these schools, they accept the subjectivity. Either you say, no, that's not true, that they only Madhyamika accept subjectivity. Either you have to say this, or if you say that, yes, these schools they accept subjectivity, like something which is very obvious is Chittamatra and Madhyamika. Chittamatra accepts subjectivity, Madhyamika accepts subjectivity. Because they accept the subjectivity, so therefore, what is rejected is objectivity. This is what most of the people are bound to say. And because of which, I know that there are some, who claimed to be, who are well respected as a great Buddhist scholar, as professors, Buddhist professor. I know. No need for me to mention the name. As professors, very senior and highly respected as Buddhist philosophy professors. And when we discuss on the philosophy, then the person will say that Chittamata's philosophy and Madhyamika's philosophy, there's no difference. It's just a chronological, the evolution. In terms of evolution, Madhyamika came later, Chittamata came first. Otherwise, philosophy-wise, there's no difference. They both reject the objectivity. Look, this is where the Nalanda studies, very systematic studies that is being offered in the big monastic universities like the Sera Debunganden and the Shetas in the other Sakya Kagyu, all the traditions, they study these so systematically for many years, penetrating the nuances. This is where only then we can expect to understand what is the philosophy of Nagarjuna and what is the real intent, the fun intent of our great compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, so for this, we have to know what is rejected when we speak about the subjectivity. So, South Tantric school this morning we touched South Tantric school when they speak about the subjectivity of the permanent phenomena, not all phenomena, permanent phenomena. What is rejected is the substantiality. In other words, subjectivity as opposed to substantiality. Then the Chittamatra, the subjectivity as opposed to externality. And if you really want to go deep into Chittamatra, really detailed into Chittamatra philosophy, then even the externality, we have to really tease apart the nuances, and we can say that subjectivity as opposed to things existing as true referent of the labels. So this is very precise answer for majority of the people who may not specialize in Chittamatra. We can say that subjectivity as opposed to objectivity. Then the next is Madhyamika. So this is what we are doing now. Okay, This is not going to be as easy as how we did before, the two truths in the other schools. Okay. So both the schools, Svatandrika Madhyamika, Prasangika Madhyamika, both follow the second eternal will of Dharma as the main, the source of the Buddhist teaching, on the basis of which they espouse their philosophy. Okay. Svatandrika Madhyamika, this morning what we said is subjectivity as opposed to true existence or independent existence, while not rejecting objectivity, while not rejecting intrinsicality. This is what we said. Then Prasangika, subjectivity. So let's say that first the substantiality, which means that the substantiality is very gross. Intrinsic substantiality is very gross. Intrinsic, external, substantiality with three characteristics. So Chitamatra peels it off and then comes up with the subjective as opposed to the externality. Okay. And then the Svatandrika Madhyamika comes up with even the finer understanding. They peels off one layer which Chitamatra could not peel off, which is the true existence. Peels it off while not rejecting objective existence. And Prasangika comes and even the final layer, the final, most profound layer, the most subtle layer of the objectivity is peeled off. No degree of objectivity is left. So all others, some degree of objectivity is removed, but some degree of objectivity is still left there. Then Prasangika Madhyamika comes, and all degrees of objectivity peeled off, nothing is left there as objective. So this is where the Prasangika philosophy, there, with respect to Prasangika philosophy, subjectivity as opposed to objectivity. This is the one which fits so well with the Prasangika philosophy and not with others. Others we have to partially accept the subjectivity, the objectivity, and partially accept the rejection of the objectivity. Okay, this is what we have to keep in mind. Now the next first let me explain to you the very standard positions, very standard the teachings and the positions, and then later on we can go into how can you possibly understand Svatandrika Madhyamika's understanding of the philosophy, and how can you possibly understand the Prasangika's understanding of the philosophy. Okay, that's one thing. So there are these very standard understanding. This can help us even to get there. Experientially, how do you demarcate between these two? It is not that easy. Not that easy. And oftentimes, right from the beginning, I don't know whether I mentioned this in this class. For sure, I mentioned this in the other class, which is the one requested by Israel Dhamma Friends of Israel. So there I mentioned this, that the modern education, people who are brought up in the modern education, the one drawback of this modern education, while it has many positive qualities, but one drawback, no doubt, is that people are so impatient. Say you study the two truths according to the four Buddhist schools, just for 4 sessions, and they come up with a question saying that I try to meditate on this, I'm not experiencing the emptiness of the Prasangika's emptiness. I don't experience the emptiness of the Chitamatra. They so in 1-2 days they expect the realization coming. This is the legacy of the modern education, the side effect of the modern education. Whereas the great Indian masters and Tibetan masters, and likewise the Chinese masters, they studied this. What we are studying, just within 5 sessions, they studied this for many years, 10, 20, 30 years. They then leave. They leave everything. They go to Himalayas. Then they meditate. After becoming really learned, they meditate on this. And then they have some questions coming up. Then they come down, meet with their teachers, then ask questions. So here the modern, everything's so fast. With the gadgets, everything's so fast. So therefore, even the spiritual realism, people expect so fast. So in 5 sessions, people expect this happening. So this is what I get the messages from my friends saying that I meditate on emptiness, I meditate on matra. I'm not getting it. No, this is, okay, be patient. In short, I don't have time now. Okay, we can't expect the realization to come like what is that? Like where the mushrooms pop up. Don't expect that. Okay, let's be patient. Okay, so one very standard position that we need to know is that if you notice one thing that the distinction that I made between the Savatantrika Madhyamika and Prasangika Madhyamika, and of course those who are really new to this Savatantrika, even some who can't even say, oh, what is that Madhyamika there too? What are they? Oh, I don't remember. If this is who you are, then I would say that in a way you are very lucky that you are being a part of this very complicated crash course. And this is going to be like the lighthouse to say that there is something which is so profound. There's a light there. So the point is that you have to go for most extensive studies, and if possible, you try to contact people from Choe Khor Sum Ling, from Tibet House, from Choe Khor Sum Ling, like Shanti Yajnik ji. They are very serious students, and they study the Narayana Master's course for these many years, and you can freely write to Choe Khor Sum Ling, you can freely write to Tibet House. In fact, we can also request some very senior students to help you. If you have, if you are the kind who really want to study this more, knowing that it's a very intricate subject, very interesting yet quite profound, you want to study more, then you can get more information from these senior students. Okay, so now, because that this is the last session, I can't really expect that what the Buddha remained silent for 49 days, and I'm teaching this in just 1.5 hours. This is something not really the pleasant. Also, it doesn't really it's not really coherent with the reality. But this is how we struggle. Okay. If you notice the distinction that I made between these two schools, Svatantrika Madhyamika and Prasangika, what I said is that Svatantrika subjectivity as opposed to true existence, while not rejecting objectivity, and the Prasangika subjectivity as opposed to objectivity. This is what I said. So there, from this you get a clear picture that the Svatantrika Madhyamika, they reject true existence in their own right, but could not reject objectivity altogether. So one layer is removed, but still the subtle layer is left. Then Prasangika comes and remove that, the last remain of the subtle layer, remove that. Okay, so this what we, how we say is that this understanding we can put in a very standard position, which if you if you discuss or if you seek the advice from the teachers who are really thorough with the philosophers Svatantrika Madhyamika and Prasangika Madhyamika, then they'll be able to help you in that regard. That is that Svatantrika Madhyamikas, they accept objectivity and self-characteristics, or they accept objectivity / self-characteristics / intrinsicality / inherency on the conventional level. Ultimately, they said that nothing exists. Okay, I'm talking about Svatantrika Madhyamika. Svatantrika Madhyamika, what they say is that ultimate and conventional, ultimate in the ultimate domain, or ultimately nothing exists. But conventionally, the intrinsicality or objectivity, inherency exists. Inherent existence, intrinsic existence, objective existence exists on the conventional level. Whereas on the conventional level, true existence does not exist, and independent existence does not exist, and ultimate existence does not exist on the conventional level. Whereas for Prasangika, not only in the ultimate domain, even on the conventional domain, even conventionally, nothing exists intrinsically, nothing exists inherently, nothing exists objectively. This is the distinction. say the Svatandra Madhyamikas are the ones, the Madhyamika philosophy is the Madhyamika philosophy who, while rejecting intrinsic existence and objective existence on the ultimate level, but accepts the intrinsic existence on the conventional level. Whereas the Prasangika is the one, not only they reject the intrinsicality and the objectivity on the ultimate level, they reject intrinsicality and objectivity on the conventional level as well. Conventional also are the self-characteristics, intrinsic existence, inherent existence, and objectivity can be rejected, is rejected, according to Prasangika, even on the conventional level. This is the distinction. Okay, with this, given that, what we do is that the, okay, what we do is that now I will explain a little bit about, say, the emptiness of independent existence and dependent origination. Following that, we'll do, say, a guided meditation on emptiness. We will go do a guided meditation, and those of us who are already exposed to the Acharya Chandrakirti's text and to the middle way, and from whichever the courses that you have been doing, okay, you can follow the guided meditation so well. Whereas those who are really, really new or have not been really, say, very systematically studying, never mind. You also join us in this guided meditation, and with this guided meditation, how profoundly you get the answer depends on not how profoundly I explain. It depends on how profound is your background of the understanding. This is what we have to keep in mind. So the point is that the more exposed you are in the study, reflection, meditation, emptiness, very systematically, then what we are doing of this meditation will be very meaningful. And those of us who are less exposed to the study, systematic study, reflection, meditation on emptiness, you will see that of course, naturally, it is going to be grosser. But you can also become, your experience can also become subtler, provided you take that as a lesson that, okay, from this now I understand the need for me to have more extensive studies, reflection. So where can I do that? So this is how you can explore. And then there's the Choe Khor Sum Ling is there. Choe Khor Sum Ling is a very active center in Bangalore, extremely active center, and there are very good teachers coming from the Sera Monastery. The very good teachers are there, coming there, and the visiting teachers to Bangalore who visit Bangalore while traveling around. The Choe Khor Sum Ling is there. You can contact the Choe Khor Sum Ling, and the people there, the staff, the volunteers, the director of the center, like Shandi Yajniji, amazingly kind person, and really, really passionate about the study, reflection, meditation. Likewise, we have the SPC, the Abanji, and there are many of them there. Many of them there, who have been part of this center for so long. Amazing. You can just write to them as to how to go further, how to step further. And we also have Tibet House here, Tibet House Delhi, the cultural center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and we're interested to know more, people who are more around Delhi or anywhere in the world. You can write to Tibet House here, and people here are really very supportive. And in fact, in Tibet House here, the good thing is that there are people who are really, really very good in the studies, who attend the classes here in Tibet House in person, and they are really good in studies. There are a number of them here in Delhi. You can make the most of their presence here in their presence. The Tibet House office will connect you to the people as well, so you can make the most of their existence. Okay, so now the true truth according to these two schools. True truth. How do we define? How do we understand conventional truth? How do we understand ultimate truth? So these two schools, there's no in terms of definition, there is not much difference. In terms of definition, there is not much difference. But what is defined, what's the referent of these definitions, can differ according to their understanding of the object of negation. Also, the definition per se is very much, again, say the definition per se, even the Chittamatra definition, just the literal definition of the ultimate truth, conventional truth, is very similar. Chittamatra, Svatana Madhyamka, and Prasangika Madhyamka, and some the monastic, the scholarly, the what do you call it, academic monastic institutions, they may put the definition slightly different among these three schools, but some put them as same. And then, depending on what the object negation is, then on that basis you understand your own the emptiness according to their school. So the definition is much more like what we said before, that the object, okay, ultimate truth. Ultimate truth is a phenomenon which the mind analyzing the ultimate cognizes it, and that the mind analyzing the ultimate becomes the mind analyzing the ultimate with respect to that object. That is the definition of the ultimate truth. Okay, let me say that it's very technical. It's like technical, and I'll make it a little simpler a little later. For time being, I don't want to compromise the definition that you find in a very standard text. And later on, as you study more into depth, when you get it almost full, then you see that this definition should not be altered. If you alter this definition, then you are diluting the concept of the ultimate truth, which is so subtle. The moment you dilute it even 0.01 degree, you are not getting the ultimate truth. Okay, for the time being, it may be a little technical, but just bear with me, and later on, I'll make it a little simple. But this definition I cannot compromise. This is so important. Okay, so the ultimate truth is a phenomenon which the mind analyzes the ultimate, realizes it, number one, and that this mind becomes the mind analyzing the ultimate with respect to that object, that referent object. That referent object is, if that is fulfilled, so the object, any object which fulfills these two characteristics, that object is known as ultimate truth. Then the conventional truth, likewise the same. A phenomenon which a mind analyzing the convention cognizes it, and that this mind becomes the mind analyzing convention with respect to this referent object. Okay, any object which fulfills this definition is a conventional truth. So this is the technical understanding. Okay, now we see that the way we did it in the Chittamatra, I'm going to do it here as well. Okay. Same. First, my presentation is going to be very. My presentation is going to be like something common to the two Madhyamikas, and then later on, depending on what you negate in your mind, what is to be negated, what comes to your mind, that is to be negated. If that is very gross, you may tilt into the Svatanta Madhyamika philosophy or emptiness. And where it's very subtle, just objective existence, then this understanding that I'm trying to give you now can take you to the Prasangika's understanding of emptiness. That depends on you. Okay. Let's say that what is this? This is a flower. Yes, this is a flower. And what's the flower from? What the flower, you can use it for multiple purposes, like my offerings to the Buddha, and then you can, say just beautify things. Okay, this has this function. Very good. This is the flower. When you analyze deeply, we see that this flower is nothing but a bunch of atoms. We'll all agree with me that this is just a bunch of atoms. Yes, that's true. When you see it on the atomic level, then this function to be offered to the Buddha, to beautify things, simply becomes senseless and meaningless when it comes to on the atomic level. So on the atomic level, this flower and the dirt and the garbage, there's no difference on the atomic level. It's just same. But on another level, when you see this as a flower, on a very gross level, we see this as a flower, then the flower and the garbage is very different. Everybody will pick up this flower, nobody will touch the garbage. So there's a distinction there. This distinction is applicable only on the gross level. On the subtle level, if the garbage is not to be touched, even this flower is not to be touched, because the constituencies, what you see there is just the same. With respect to your eyes, these two are just the same. It's just a bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons, and this flower is also a bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons. There's no difference there. But we see that there's a flower there. Okay, now tell me, while there's just a bunch of atoms there, how come that there's one object there as a flower which was non-existent with the garbage, which existed with a bunch of atoms? What is that flower? What is that phenomenon? It comes from where? Not from the atoms. From where? This question. Purely from your mind. Purely from your mind. If this is from your mind, then the way we did with the Chittamatra, let's say, the flower there, and then my mind sees it as a flower. Then it comes to know that there's not really flowers there, except that your mind imputes it. Flowers there, let us not forget this. Flowers there, but not as independent from your mind. Which means that it is so like it goes here. It goes here to the mind. This is what we studied in Chittamatra. Now we are studying similar in Prasangika also. Prasangika and Madhyamika, the both Madhyamikas. Okay. Now the difference is that in Chittamatra, this object goes to the mind. What is left now? Appearance is left. Appearance is left. And the mirror, like the mind is left. Mirror like the mind. And the appearance of flowers left. That's left. And what is this mind? This mind is really there. This mind is really there. As the mirror. Mirror is really there. Reflections are just very fluid. Anything comes, then reflection is formed. Whereas the mirror is very steadily there. Truly there. Likewise, this mind is truly there for Chittamatra. Now for the Madhyamikas, even this mind is also not really there. Just as this flower, say, it is not that the flower comes closer, it's not coming here. For Chittamatra, the flower is just the nature of your mind. Mind is very true, mind is here, and then it comes close towards the mind. There's no space gap between the mind and the flower. But for Madhyamikas, particularly Prasangika Madhyamika, it's not that the flower comes, because the flower itself disappears. Where the flower appears, there the flower disappears. Because what we see is just there, what we see is a flower, there. Instead of coming, there's nothing coming towards the mind. Where the flower appeared from, there we see just a bunch of atoms. Where you see the atoms, the flower disappears in the thin air. Not that it shifts its place, it shifts its position. No, it doesn't shift the position. It simply disappears there. From itself, it disappears. There's nothing to identify there as the object. Whereas for Chittamatra, there's something to identify there. Only the shift in the object, the shift in position happens in Chittamatra. What is seen is there. As you realize and become deeper, it then physically doesn't move. Physically doesn't move, but in your realization, it moves. That this is not really there, so external there. It is coming closer towards the mind, and it's just one issue with the mind. Okay, so there's a shift in the position. Externality is rejected, the flower is not rejected. Whereas in the case of Prasangika, what happens is the flower, when you see it on the atomic level, the flower, where the flower appeared, there itself the flower disappeared. The flower does not shift its position. The flower disappears there with respect to your understanding, with respect to your perception. Not that the flower, when you see the emptiness, the flower disappears. No, the flower will not disappear. Flower is there, but with respect to you, with respect to you seeing as atoms, the flower disappears. For you, the flower is non-existent. So your mind, seeing on the atomic level in a very loose sense. In a technical, if you are really well versed in the Madhyamika studies, then I will not talk like this. What I'm talking to you is in the context of trying to explain the complicated Madhyamika philosophy in a vernacular language. This is what I'm trying to do. Once you understand this concept, then later on when you study the Madhyamika, then you try to use the technical terms. So for the time being, I skip the technical terms. If the need be later on, I may use it. For the time, what I'm saying is that the mind, your mind, which is seeing this flower in the form of the atoms and electrons, protons, so that mind, in a loose sense, that mind is not in the normal conventional mind, normal conventional perception. It is perceiving deeper than how you normally see, conventionally see. So you're going deeper into deeper than the conventionality. Deeper than the conventionality is known as ultimate. So you go into ultimate, that mind is known as the mind analyzing the ultimate. So the flower cannot be findable with respect to the mind analyzing the ultimate. Your mind analyzes the ultimate, whereas my mind is just to, oh, there's a flower there. I don't look at it from the electrons, protons, neutrons point of view. So with my mind, which doesn't go deeper than how it appears to the conventional mind, my mind is known as the conventional mind analyzing the convention. So the flower is findable, the flower exists as a flower with respect to the mind analyzing the convention. Whereas the mind analyzing the ultimate, the flower does not exist. The flower does not shift its object, shift its position the way it does according to the Chittamatra philosophy. It simply disappears from the object. So the objectivity is lost. Objectivity is lost. Okay. And this, what about the Svatandra Madhyamika? Yes, same. Svatandra Madhyamika also, you see, if you go to the atomic level, again the flower disappears. Same. Your question is, what is the difference between these two schools then? This question. Okay. This is what we have to explore a little bit later. For the time being, let's say that mind analyzing the ultimate is the one which analyzes the object beyond the conventional way of analyzing. Beyond the conventional way of analyzing is the ultimate analysis. So with respect to that mind, the flower disappears. In other words, what is this flower? This flower is not really from the object, it's how your mind perceives. What about this mind? Even this mind is also the same. Even this mind also does not exist as truly. Even this mind is also, it's just mere perception with respect to the end of the mind which is perceiving that. So in other words, just as a flower is illusory, even this mind is also illusory. There's nothing which is the frame of reference. There's nothing as the solid frame of reference, the way it is espoused by the Chittamatras. For the Chittamatra, the mind is the frame of reference which is so solid and truly existent, frame of reference to say that everything is just an issue of the moment. What about this mind? This mind truly exists. Like the mirror. Whatever you see in the mirror, from the mirror, say particularly what you call convex or concave. Convex, I think convex. Convex mirror, whatever. One which is protruding out. So there the view is huge view. In this tiny mirror, you see like the 2-3 kilometers within this tiny mirror. Okay, so all these views, you turn this mirror and the view will change. The reflections here will change. Reflection is so fluid, but the mirror is very stable. Likewise, all what you see, they are like the reflections in the mirror. And your mind is like the mirror. Your mind is very stable. This is Chittamatra. Prasangika says even this mind is also very, very illusory. Just as the object is very illusory, object is not objectively there. It's not so solid, so stable, objective there. Even this mind also does not exist objective. This is also like illusion. In other words, whole world of illusions operating in this universe. This is the Madhyamika's view, particularly Prasangika's view. Okay. The next question is about the difference between these two schools, the Svatandra Madhyamika and Prasangika. What's the difference? This question. Okay. What's the difference? Difference lies in the very standard position. Standard position is that on the conventional level, objective existence and self-characteristics is accepted by the Svatandra Madhyamika, and Prasangika rejects objective and intrinsic existence even on the conventional level, let alone the ultimate level. Even on the conventional level, even conventionally, the intrinsic existence and objective existence are rejected, or self-characteristics is rejected. This is Prasangika. This is a very standard position. And the now I can say two things. One is the how to make this distinction on the basis of the intellectual discussion. Then number two, experientially, how to make this the difference. Two, on the intellectual level. On the intellectual level, and by the way, keep in mind that what I'm trying to explain is categorically very different, distinct. There's a sharp line between the two schools. I'm giving this impression. Answer is yes, that's true. But there are many scholars who are really, really fine scholars. Even they say that these two schools, the philosophy is same. The philosophy is same. Emptiness is just the same. There are many scholars who say that. Okay, let us not forget this. It is not that easy. Okay, with this, having said this, now the intellectually, just on the intellectual level, or more on the academic level, how would the academic and all, something to make a very clean divide between these two schools. Let's say that even the conventionally objective existence is rejected. This is Prasangika. Svatandra Madhyamika, conventionally objective existence accepted. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Let's say that you ask me, where is Dorji? I say, I'm here. This is what is known as what is the permissible in the conventional world. Conventional world, for example, in the schools. All of us are from the schools. And some of you from the colleges as well, colleges, universities. And then what is that? There's a proxy. In the universities, colleges, there's the proxy attendance. What do you mean by proxy attendance? Which means that, the teacher says, hey Mary, and then the Mary is absent, then I say, I'm a male, I said, yes ma'am. This is proxy. So the ma'am says, ma'am is very busy, she wants to finish the work. She says, okay, finish. So this is proxy. Whereas if the man is very particular, okay, where is Mary? And then I say, yes ma'am, no, I'll be punished, she'll be punished, both will be punished, Mary and I both will be punished. Whereas, same, where is Dorji? Dorji, are his man? Yes ma'am. Okay, good. She looks at me and says, okay, good. This is the final judgment. This is a final evaluation to say that he is there. He is there in the class. She sees it and finish. There's no more analysis beyond that. This is how the conventional world operates. This is known as the best of the witness, eyewitness, the best of the witness, not telling lies. Best of the witness, what I see, this is final. You cannot explore beyond that. Okay. So then, when he said, where is Dorji? I'm here. And then she looks at me, perfect, yes, you are there, I agree with you. Then the next time somebody says that, oh, Dorji, you were absent in the class. I said, no, madam knows that. And the madam, yes, I saw that. I saw him there. I was there, and I took the attendance, and he was there. I saw it. This is a file. Nobody can say beyond this. At the most, they can say that you are telling lies. But she said, no, I'm not telling lies. And all the other students are witness. Okay. So what you say, they say conventionally. When I say that I'm here, this is the benchmark. This is the last line. This is the best way by which to say that something exists. Dorji exists. This is how conventional world accepts. This is meaning of conventionality. Now, you say, okay, where are you? Your hand is Dorji. Your hand is Dorji? No, no, man. Then where is Dorji? Your chest is Dorji? No, man. Then inside me, your heart is Dorji? No. If you analyze this, you will never find Dorji. Which means that this, if you do this kind of analysis, if you do this kind of questions, interrogation, then the world will say that this person is crazy. This is not permissible. This analysis is not permissible in the conventional world. So therefore, this kind of, but this, you can ask this question, what's the problem? You can ask this question. Your hand is Dorji? No. Your chest is Dorji? No. Your heart is Dorji? No. Yes, this question. You can also give the answer. And then where is Dorji then? If you analyze like this, then you will not find Dorji. But the conventional world will not allow you to ask these questions. The moment you ask these questions, they will just disqualify you from, because you transgress, you are going beyond the conventional analysis. Okay, so say now Prasangika and the Svatana Madhyamika. So this analysis, don't forget this, where conventionally say, I'm here, finish. Don't analyze beyond that. Beyond that, you will not find anything. Beyond that, if you go, you are going beyond conventionality. Going beyond conventionality is ultimate. You are looking for the ultimate. You are looking for the ultimate truth. So, this conventional truth does not exist as ultimate truth. So, this Dorji will not exist. Will not at all exist the moment you go beyond this analysis. Okay, let us not forget this. Now, you bring the Prasangika and Svatana Madhyamika. And you say, okay, you are there. Okay, I'm here. Prasangika is here. Svatana Madhyamika is here. And you are the one who is asking, where is Dorji? And I say, yes, I'm here, sir. I say this. Both schools will say, perfect, that's good. Okay. Then you ask me, your hand is Dorji? Then the Prasangika will say, stop. Prasangika will say, stop. Svatana Madhyamika will not stop you. Prasangika will say, stop. Now you are breaching. You are transgressing the conventionality. You are going beyond conventionality. And the Svatana Madhyamika will say, no, this is still, it is within the conventionality. Because although your hand is not you, but you ask more. You ask me, Dorji, your heart is Dorji? No. Then your chest is Dorji? No. Your mind is Dorji? Yes. The Svatana Madhyamika will say, yes, your mind is Dorji. Yes, Dorji's mind is Dorji. Okay. So there, Prasangika Madhyamika will say that the moment you cross this, you go into the ultimate analysis. The moment you go into ultimate analysis, you will not find Dorji. Whereas Svatana Madhyamika says that you cross the conventionality, you will not find Dorji. That's true. You go into ultimate. But when you say that, where is Dorji? I'm here. And then you ask your Dorji, your mind is Dorji? When you analyze this is not the ultimate analysis. Still, this is within the domain of the conventional analysis. So the border of conventionality differs between the two schools. The border of conventionality differs between the two schools. For Prasangika, it is purely conventional. Whereas for the Svatana Madhyamika, it is not purely conventional. You can take one step beyond conventional. Still, they say it's conventional. So this is the difference. So for Prasangika, you just cross the border of conventionality, pure conventionality. You cross it, you will not find anything. And if you find something, that should be the ultimate truth. Whereas for Svatana Madhyamika, you can cross the pure conventionality, the mere conventionality. You can cross it, still it is conventional. My mind is Dorji. Yes. It's not the ultimate analysis, it's conventional analysis. This is the difference. So, when you accept something existing beyond the mere conventionality, you are accepting objective existence conventionally. Whereas for Prasangika, beyond the mere conventional, nothing exists. So, therefore, objective existence, no degree of objective existence is accepted. When you cross the mere conventionality, you accept something, you are still accepting some degree of objectivity. This is the difference. Okay. So now what is so important is that after this we'll do a little bit of meditation on emptiness, And of course, in this class, I didn't really give you the steps to understand how things are like dream. I didn't really go into detail. I just talked about the flower and the atomic level. On the atomic level, flower is not there. I just touch it on a on a very in a technical, gross, but very technically. Okay, but in the meditation, those of us who are already exposed to this, we can follow the instruction very, very well. Those who are not, don't worry, just try to follow, and you will get something. And then later on, you try to, if you are interested, you can study. More important is, if you're interested, you can do this meditation over and over again. Meanwhile, the most important for your own benefit is study more. Rather than jumping into the meditation, study more. Study, if possible, extensively, systematically. Systematic studies. Systematic studies. I'm sure that there are people from different parts of the world who are listening to this. So wherever, the best would be if there is a center or a teacher, somebody who can teach something, who can teach properly, and that too, say where you can physically approach, that would be the best. That would be best. So meanwhile, you can also the study from other sources. Okay, that's up to you. But what I would say is that go for systematic studies. That is very important. Meanwhile, reflection. Once you have adequate studies and systematic studies and reflection, then you can go for meditation. Okay, this is what we can do. So now, emptiness. Many people, particularly the newcomers, the beginners, have the tendency to emptiness means nothing exists. The flower is just atoms. That's true. And then the flower is not there. That's true. Where's the flower? The flower is not there. So it's very easy for people to jump to the conclusion that through a little bit of introduction to emptiness, they conclude emptiness to mean nothingness. So therefore, it's very important for us to know the relationship between the emptiness and dependent origination. That I'd like to explain, and then on that basis, I like to quote, not really quote, I like to share with you one advice given by Lama Tsongkhapa pertaining to how we can connect ourselves with the understanding of emptiness even in the later lives. Okay, and then we'll do the meditation, followed by question answers. Okay, first, this is something I would say the beginners to this course, the subject of emptiness, you must pay attention to this. This is very important. And those who are already exposed to this concept, relationship between emptiness and dependent origination, I would still ask you to listen to it well, so that you can really reinforce, refresh, and to stabilize your understanding. Okay, emptiness, dependent origination, and a middle way. Let me say it again. Emptiness, dependent origination, and a middle way. Oftentimes people have the understanding emptiness means nothing. And in fact, again, the same thing, I'm saying this again and again, not as a means to insult somebody, but to tell us, including myself, that we should not fall into this problem. This is why I'm saying this, not to offend somebody. Okay. In fact, in a big conference organized by Tibet House, there was a professor who is claimed to be a great the Buddhist scholar, particularly in philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, of Chittamatra Madhyamika. And then in the conference, I was quite shocked to say that in Buddhism there is nothing. Nothing exists. Anatma, no self. The self doesn't exist. I was really shocked. I can't expect that this professor, who's claimed as the Buddhist scholar in the philosophy of the Chittamatra Madhyamika, is saying like this: in Buddhism there's nothing existent. Anatma. There's nothing existent, no self, nothing exists. I was really shocked. The Buddha said that you are the master of yourself. Who else is there as your master? The one who tames his mind, or who tames her mind and achieves enlightenment. This is the wise approach. This is what the Buddha said. You are the master of yourself. The Buddha said, you are there. The Buddha didn't say, you are not existent. Don't worry, you can do anything. The Buddha did not say that. You are there. So this is simply because why this person got into this trap, or got into this chasm, fell into this chasm, was because of the failure to understand the relationship between emptiness and dependent origination and the middle way. Okay, this is what I like to share with you. Even those people who are already exposed to the study of Madhyamika Avatar, actually chanting with this text for so many years, I would also like you to listen to this and make sure that your understanding is reinforced and refreshed. Emptiness. Emptiness, 5 points. 5 points. Number 1, emptiness. Number 2, emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number 2, emptiness of independent existence. For example, who? WHO, who? Who doesn't mean who are you. It simply means it's a short form of World Health Organization. Okay, so emptiness doesn't mean nothing, empty. This means it's a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number 3, emptiness of independent existence means, number 3, nothing exists independently. This is number 3. Emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 4, nothing exists independently means everything exists by dependence. Number 4. Number 5, everything exists by dependence means everything is dependently originated. Number 5. From these 5 lines of reasoning, we come to deduce that emptiness means dependent origination. A equals B, B equals C, C equals D, D equals E. Therefore, A equals E. Likewise, emptiness equals dependent origination. This is number 1. Number 2, relationship between dependent origination and middle way. Dependent origination has 2 sides, dependence and origination. Dependence means when you say dependence, it rejects independence. Independent, absolute. Independence and absolutism, these two mean the same. When you say dependence, it rejects independence, it rejects absolutism. It rejects the extreme of absolutism. Other one is origination. Origination means something comes into origination, something comes into existence. Something comes into existence means what is the opposite of existence? Non-existence, nihilism. So origination, it rejects the extreme of non-existence, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. So dependent rejects the extreme of absolutism, origination rejects the extreme of nihilism. Bringing these two together, dependent origination rejects the 2 extremes. Rejecting the 2 extremes is following the middle way. So this is how dependent origination means the middle way. So if A equals B, B equals C, automatically A equals C. So emptiness equals dependent origination equals the middle way. So therefore emptiness equals the middle way. If it is middle way, it is not nihilism. Nihilism is the extreme of nihilism. So therefore emptiness is not nihilism, emptiness is the middle way. So the Buddha, when he taught emptiness, he doesn't mean to say that nothing exists. If you understand, if you read the Buddha's presentation of emptiness as nothingness, Buddha rejects all existence. This is our failure to understand emptiness in the context of dependent origination, which in turn in the context of middle way. Thus you fail to see the hardcore of the Buddha's teachings to mean emptiness, to mean the middle way. This is so important. Okay, with this in mind, what we understand, anything which dependent originated, this we have to understand that, which means that that object which is dependent originated does not have independent existence, does not have objective existence. If it is not objective existence, it should be subjective existence. It is subjective existence, it is like the what comes to your subjective mind like a dream, like a dream. Just mere perception, not from the object. Not from the object, but from the perception, from the subject. It is like dream. Dream is purely nothing from the object. It's purely from the subject. So, everything becomes like a dream. This is what we have to know. Knowing this, then the advice from Lama Tsongkhapa, which is so important advice for us, is that whenever you encounter with the phenomenon of dependent origination, say because by dependence on the spread of the coronavirus, there's the fear, anxiety originating. Dependent origination. Because of the coronavirus, spread of coronavirus, there's a fear of anxiety originating. And because of the cover-up happening of the coronavirus spread, then the anger arises in the people when the spread happened because of the cover-up. Anger originated. So we see that the whole world is operating on the basis of dependent origination. So the advice given by Lama Tsongkhapa is that when you see dependent origination, you have to know the emptiness of objective existence, emptiness of independent existence. So this anger arising because of cover-up happening. This anger did not arise independently. It exists by dependence on the cover-up done by the former party, the first one. And then the fear arising because of the spread of the coronavirus. The fear originates by dependence on the spread of the coronavirus. So this fear is not independently real. It's a dependent originated. It's empty of independent reality. So the advice given by Lama Tsongkhapa is that whenever we see dependent origination, be it cause-effect dependent origination, or the past and whole dependent origination, or the mental imputation dependent origination which we have to understand on three different levels. Whichever level of dependent origination you see, from this, by seeing this, you try to remember, therefore things don't exist independently. Therefore things don't exist objectively. If this is how you try to correlate in this life, so well, to see that these two are so closely intertwined. When you think of dependent origination, emptiness of objective existence automatically arises in your mind. If this body can build as a habit in this life, then next life, the Lama Tsongkhapa said that you're bound to meet with teachers who can teach you dependent origination. And dependent origination, because some are very gross, some are subtle, and even the gross dependent origination, you understand it because of your previous karmic, because of your previous effort in the gluing the two, in bringing these two, in connecting the two so well, remembering dependent origin, automatically the memory of the emptiness of objective existence should come to you. So this will then keep you connected with the teaching on emptiness, meditating emptiness, even through the future lives. And with this, then all the mental deformity, the real transformation of your mind, transformation of the mental agitation to the ultimate peace. Agitation all grounded on the belief that things exist objectively. So when you believe the dream is real, then the agitation starts in the dream. You see, the dream is real. Say the dream ghost is real. The dream ghost as real. The dream fight is real. Then the agitation happens in the dream. The moment you wake up, you see that it's not real. It's just your mind. Like it's just your dream. The moment you discover that, then the agitation stops. So likewise, the moment we discover that nothing really exists objectively, all exists as subjective real, then all your agitation stops. So the real transformation within your mind, the transformation, okay, from a bad person you should become a good person. This is not the real thing. Okay, you should not be a sinful person. You should be a virtuous person. This is not the. Don't start with this. We start from, okay, you are in an agitated state. You are in the restless state. You are very unhappy. You are in a miserable state. You have pain, anxiety. From this transform to the anxiety-less state, to a very peaceful person. How? So this peacefulness, the peaceful state of your mind is because of one way of thinking. That way of thinking, which gives you peace, is labeled virtue. That way of thinking, which gives you agitation, that is labeled as non-virtue. This is the idea. Only then be virtuous, don't be non-virtuous, comes into play. Otherwise, we begin by saying that we should be virtuous, we should not be doing bad. Then we follow blindly. Following blindly, we will never explore, we will never understand what the objective reality is. Objectivity is obscured from you having the vision of this, the ultimate reality. Okay, so then real transformation happens in your mind with the experience of emptiness. So this is how you relate, by relating this emptiness, always having the memory of emptiness, by whenever you see, whenever you hear, whenever you experience, whenever you read of dependent origination. This is the advice given. Okay, so with this now we will move to the meditation, a simple meditation on emptiness. Ready? Okay. For this meditation on emptiness, what I would suggest is that just relax, sit up properly, just relax, and just take 3 deep breaths in order to relax yourself. Just take 3 deep breaths. And visualize all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas with us to bless us that our meditative emptiness does not go in the wrong direction, but in the proper direction. And let us also visualize all your 2 parents, your children, family members, and all sentient beings with you, particularly those who died to this coronavirus and those who are in a very, they said, critical stage in the ICU, in the hospitals, and the medical doctors, nurses, medical staff, everyone who are badly affected by this coronavirus. Let us visualize everyone with you to inspire them. Okay, it's not about the ism, it's not about Buddhism, this ism, that ism. It's about my well-being, that I should not fall into this fear, that nobody should fall into this fear and anxiety. Everybody should be freed from all forms of miseries. It's for this reason that I'm doing this meditation, that I'm inspiring all other sentient beings into this meditation. Okay, this should be our motivation, your motivation and my motivation. Meanwhile, seek the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that you are in the proper track, that all beings are in the proper track of the meditation emptiness. Okay. Stop ruminating over the past experiences, any form of past experience. Just stop ruminating over the past experiences. Stop anticipating for anything of the future events. Detach yourself from all the 5 sensory objects. Be in the present moment with respect to the instructions given. Just be in the present moment. Don't try to correlate the instruction that I'm giving you with what you've learned the 5 sessions. Don't try to correlate anything. Just try to follow the instructions and see how much you can invoke the respective experiences. And if you do want to correlate, you can correlate it after the meditation. But during the meditation, let us make the most of this time together. Okay. All these questions, instructions given to you, answers, if the answer is required, you have to give all mentally. What are you doing? I'm meditating on emptiness. I'm following instruction. What is mind doing? My mind is also meditating. Okay, good. And what is this person who you identify as I? How does this person who you said is meditating, how does this person appear to you? Like a dream, that your mind is just creating this person, the way the dream has been created by the dreaming mind, or nothing to do with my mind Nothing to do with mind. It is so solidly there. It's so objectified there. Of course, so objectified there. This perception, this belief is known as the self-grasping ignorance. How can this be ignorance? It's so real, it's true. Okay, let us not say anything now. This perception, seeing the self is so objectively there. If this perception is valid, it's not a misperception. Remember what Aranigarjuna said. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Let me repeat it. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Likewise, if this person who I identify as I, this person, Dorji, Mary, Tenzin, so forth, Shandi, and so forth, then this person, as I go close to I should be able to find this person as I go closer to this object. Okay, yes, if the person does exist objectively, so solid, objectified there, closer I go to this object, I should be able to find it. Okay, so now let's see. Let us go closer to this object. As we go closer to this object, anything which is not the self, which you identified as I, as Dorji, Shandi, whatever, anything which is not that person, just ignore. Okay, let us start the journey. Let us go closer, closer, closer to the self. Going closer, we see a thin layer of the skin. First thing that we see is just a thin layer of the skin which covers the whole body. Of course, that is not me. Behind that, the fatty tissues. Yes, when we have a cut, then these fatty tissues come out. So repulsive to see. Yes, that's not me. Behind that, muscles and the cartilages. Of course not me. Then behind that, the whole skeleton, the skull, and the vertebrae, the ribs, then the femur, and all these bones, the joints. None of these bone is me. That's true. That's not me. The blood vessels, not me. The heart, the brain, the lungs, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, kidney, intestine, stomach. None of these is me. These form the solid parts of me. Element of earth. Element of earth is not me. Keep them aside. Next, element of water. 4 liters of blood which is pumped in and out by the heart to the different parts of the body. Of course, this element of water, the blood, is not me. Keep that aside. Element of fire, 2,600 joules of energy our body has. Of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that will be breathed out through our lungs. Of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. Element of space, 99.9% of a body is just constituted of space, empty space. But whereas I am a solid person, space of vacuum in nature, that space is not me. Keep that aside. What is left now? Just the consciousness is left. My mind is left. Even my mind is not me. Element of consciousness also not me. I'm a male. I'm a female. My mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of my body. So this mind is not me. And also that people can see me. People cannot see my mind. So therefore even this mind is also not me. Keep that aside. What is left now? Nothing is left there. Okay, nothing is left. Keeping aside these 6 elements, nothing is there. You should be, this is the reality that you are discovering, that you are not exaggerating, you are not reifying, that you are not exaggerating. This is the reality that you are discovering. The self is, the person which I identify as I is not really there. Stay in this experience. Okay, Bring back the 6 elements. What are you saying? Just try to look at each of the elements discreetly. And earth, water, fire, air, space, consciousness. Tell me, which of the 6 elements is the self? None. None. Okay, so if the self does exist objectively, now we have come too close to its object. Coming too close to the object, at the most, if at all something is there, we found the 6 elements. And we said that none of the 6 elements is the self. The six elements, there is no one entity which governs all the 6 elements, which unites all the 6 elements to say that this one unit, there's no one unit there. These 6 elements, they are so discrete, and they are so discretely there, one different from the other. There's no one entity to say that this is which is common feature amongst all of 5. There's no one which is binding all 6 elements. So therefore, none of these 6 elements is the self. So if you understand this, that yes, I'm 100% sure that none of these 6 elements is the self. If you're sure of this, you are understanding the emptiness of the objects being one with its parts. That this self is not one with its parts. Okay. If you're sure of this, then we move to the next. If at all something is there from the object, we see the 6 elements. If the 6 elements are not the self, this person, then see if the self is still there as different from these 6 elements. Keeping aside the 6 elements, what do you see there? This is the second alternative, second option for the something to exist objectively. Either what you see as 6 elements or different from 6 elements. Keeping aside 6 elements, different from 6 elements, do you see anything there as a self? Nothing is there. Then you remove the 6 elements, it becomes even worse. Nothing is left there. Stay in this experience. If you're dead sure of this is understanding that the understanding of the self to be empty of being different from its parts. Okay, good. Now we see that these are the only two options for the self to exist objectively. Either the 6 elements should be the self, or different from 6 elements should be the self. Besides these two, there's no third option for the self to exist objectively. That's very true. If you are happy with this, then this is the understanding of that the self, if the self does not exist as one with the parts or different from the parts, then it should not be existing from the object. Yes, I agree. This is the fourth essential. Now, conclusion. So where is the self from the object now? You have come too close to the object, and you send both the alternatives, the 6 elements or different from 6 elements. Both are not true. That self does not exist as any of these two alternatives. So from the object, where is there as a self? Nothing is there as a self. Stay in this experience. This is known as the meditation on the space-like emptiness of the self. Stay in this experience. And in some cases, there could be a tinge of a fear coming in you that the self is not really there. Or a tinge of a tickling sensation, a goosebumps can come to you. And in some cases, a very tranquil experience can come. Instantly, the whole body, the cells, they will go back to normalcy. Perfect state of equanimity, state of equilibrium. Incredibly sound equilibrium experience will come. And if nothing of this happens, don't worry. Just go for extensive studies, reflection, meditation. Continue with this journey. You are bound to go through these experiences. Okay, stay in this experience for a while. Where is the self? Both alternatives prove to be wrong. That self does not exist one with the parts, no one with the 6 elements, no different from the 6 elements. So where is the self from the object? Nothing is there as a self from the object. Stay in this experience. Okay, now slowly come out of the meditation, come out of the meditation. Again the self comes back. Okay, I'm coming out of the meditation. Again this I comes out, comes. Okay, now Let us not come suddenly. Let us not come out suddenly. Gradually come out. Be aware of what you have discerned, that the self does not exist as objectively. From the object is just totally blank as a self. Nothing is there from the object as a self. But now, coming out of the meditation, again the self comes back. What do you mean by comes back? The self coming back. That I start to perceive the self. The self start to appear to my mind. Yes, from the object, 100% is not there. Now it starts to appear to mind. Therefore, it is referred to as the mere appearance to your mind. Mere appearance. This is what Lama Tsongkhapa indicated in the three principal parts. That on this mere appearance, all the functionalities operate, or the whole world operates on the level of the mere appearance. Okay. So now on this level, everything, sickness, aging, death, happiness, suffering, coronavirus, anxiety of corona, everything is operating on this level, the mere appearance. Mere appearance means that from the object is totally empty. It's just happening on the mere appearance, convention level. This is known as the dreamlike nature, illusion-like nature of all phenomena. So this experience that it's just on the appearance level, things are operating. On the objective level, nothing is operating. On the appearance level, everything so infallibly operates. The functionality, the worldly operations happen infallibly on the level of the appearance level, the mere appearance level. Okay, mere appearance means like illusion. This is what is known as the meditation on the illusion-like emptiness. Okay, now come out of the practice, come out of the meditation, come out. Okay, good. Okay, questions? Okay, it's 3:30 sharp. Now we have questions. Okay, good. Question from Bhavani Prakash. Thank you, Geshe-la. If the mind, according to Prasangika, is illusory, like respect to another mind observing it, does it mean all minds are arising out of imputation by later minds? Okay. This is a good question. Imputation. Number one, that not only all minds, every phenomena, including emptiness, is imputation. Let us not forget this. Every phenomena, including emptiness, let alone the minds, they are all imputation, mere imputation. One. Then, if the imputation, what mind imputes? What mind imputes the later minds? Impute the early minds? This question. Okay. Imputation, when you speak about the imputation, there are two things involved. One is what is imputed and what imputes. What is imputed and what imputes. The one which imputes, what is the sequence between the two? What is imputed and what imputes, the sequence between the two. Is there always a sequence, a proper sequence? No. Imputed and what imputes, these two can be simultaneous. What imputes can be before what is imputed. What imputes can be after what is imputed. So all three options are possible. Let me give you some example. Okay. This flower is beautiful. When I say that, this flower is beautiful. So beauty is a conceptual thought process. It's very easy. I'm imputing a beauty on this flower. Simultaneous. This flower existing now, the present flower is beautiful. The past one is not beautiful. The future I'm not too sure. Present one is beautiful. Present with respect. Present means with respect to something. With respect to who is saying. So this mind, we're saying that this present flower is beautiful. Which means that what is imputed and what imputes, these two are simultaneous. And when I say them, okay, last year, I really enjoyed the last year. So my mind imputes the last year. So what is imputed existed last year, and what imputes exists now. Because you said last year. So what imputes followed what is imputed. I want to say, okay, next life, I must do well. I must study, reflect, meditate on emptiness well. so that with the meditation emptiness, they're saying you get a good experience of emptiness, guarantees that you will not take birth in the lower realms next time. Good meditation emptiness guarantees that you will not go to lower rebirth next life. Okay, so next birth, I make sure that it's very scary to take birth as in the lower realms. So next life, I make sure that I will not take birth in lower realms. I must not miss the opportunity to study, systematically study, reflect, meditate, emptiness. I must not miss this opportunity. Okay, next life. So your mind is imputing next life. So what imputes precedes. What is imputed is yet to come. It come later. So this is the relationship between imputed and what imputes. Okay, the next question. Okay, George Leon. Is it right to say that the difference? Oh, by the way, all these questions are coming from the from the chat, and then my friends, they're helping me to note them down so fast and give them to me. Thank you so much for helping me. Okay, George Leon, is it right to say that the difference between Svatantrika and Prasangika on a conventional level is that the Prasangika assess conventionality as existing only by label and mere imputation? Answer is correct. Yes, only by label and mere designation. That's true. Same. In other words, everything exists by mere label, mere conventionality. And some people say that everything is mere label. That's also not correct. And some teachers, very standard teachers, even say that everything is label. So there, what the great teachers say, everything is label, and what most of the people who are not really so thorough with the emptiness concept, they say everything is label. The ordinary people, they're actually mimicking these teachers. What these teachers say is a short form of everything comes into being by the power of the mere label. Whereas most of the people, when they hear a very short label, very short sentence, saying that everything is labeled by the teachers, but these very standard teachers, the standard teachers, everything is labeled. They are saying that everything comes into being as by the power of the mere labeling. Everything is not labeled. Okay. So the people who hear these great teachers, they mimic what they said. Everything is labeled. This is wrong. Everything is not labeled. To be politically correct, everything is not labeled. For example, this paper is not labeled. Label is word. Label is word, or the thought, which makes the words to come out. These two, the thoughts or the words. This is not a word. This is not a thought. So it is not label. But this comes into being by the power of the mere label. This is what we have to say. Okay, so the Svatantrika Madhyamika would say that everything comes into being by the power of labels, not by mere labels. Whether Prasangika would say that everything comes into being by the power of the mere labels. This is correct. But how would you make distinction between these two, mere label and the label? This is another the responsibility that we have to explore. Don't just be happy with words. These words must be reflected in the meanings in your understanding. Okay, there's one more question. Okay, we have like the three questions. We'll do these questions, then we'll stop here. Okay, one question is from Antonella G. How do subject and object they interact or merge according to three higher schools when objects are made of atoms and the subject mind is made of moments of mind? What is meant by substance of mind? Okay, so basically we see that okay, when I speak about this, okay, first let me say that the substance of the mind, substance, the best thing would be, let's say that the flower. This is not an imaginary flower. This is not an imaginary flower. I ask you to imagine a blue flower in my right hand, and this red flower here, the blue flower in my right hand. This is imaginary. This flower is not imaginary. How would you distinguish the two? One is tangible, one is not tangible. What makes one tangible, one not tangible? Tangible, there's a substance there. There's something there. There's something there. There's something which you call as something there, which makes me to feel this to be tangible. That is known as a substance. Let's not forget this. Likewise, now with the mind. With the mind. Mind. Say the mind. It does not have that which makes this flower tangible. Which makes this flower tangible is the atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons. This flower does not have electrons, protons, neutrons, and so forth. So this is where the modern education. This is one of the demerits of the modern education. That what we learn is all something very tangible, mechanical in the modern education. This is what we learned. And we don't really learn about the non-tangible things. The reality, there are three levels of reality. This is an amazing way of the taxonomy of the phenomena that we learn, that is taught in the Buddhist, the metaphysics. Evident phenomena, slightly hidden phenomena, and the very hidden phenomena. First, we need to learn the taxonomy of the phenomena in these three classifications. Evident phenomena, slightly hidden phenomena, very hidden phenomena. And the modern, let's say, the modern education primarily focuses on the evident phenomena and a part of the slightly hidden phenomena. And then many of these slightly hidden phenomena, such as the mind. What really is the mind? What really is mind? Okay, we can say, okay, don't be angry. I can see that you are angry. Don't be jealous. I can see that you are jealous. So this is more the activity of that agent. There's one agent there, which is reflected with as it involves in the activities. For example, anger, the face expression changes. And with the jealousy, face expression changes. Sad, the face expression changes. For example, Professor Polakman, who is expert on the facial expression, microfacial expression, expert. So there from the facial expressions, he could figure out what emotions you're going through. So these facial expressions, which were earlier not there, now they display the facial expressions coming to being. There's movement happening, very subtle movement happening. From this, he can figure out what's going in your mind. Anger, hatred, all this he can figure out. Okay, so then you are seeing the activity of the agent. So this activity agent are the activity of what object? What object? The mind. That is the meaning of the substance. You don't see what that mind is. You see the activity of the mind. For example, the example that I gave in the last class, the class of the emptiness of mind, requested by the Dharma Friends of Israel. So there I give the example. For example, this hand. There's a substance there. There's entity there. Entity. The substance of object meaning the entity. Entity. There's entity there. And then this entity plus the activity there. So when it's covered by this cloth, you don't see the entity. You don't see the entity. You see the, you don't see the entity. But you see the activity. You don't see the entity. You see the activity. Whereas I uncover this, I see the activity plus the entity, both. So that what I call as the entity or the object which is performing this activity. That is the substance of substance. And if it is we're talking about the mind, it's a substance of mind. If it's talking about the flower, it's a substance of the flower. It's talking about the hand, it's a substance of the hand. Substance does not necessarily mean something which is made of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Okay. The next question is, how do subject and object interact or merge according to three higher schools? Merge. This is not really a good word, merge. They don't really merge. For example, say that, okay, I pick up this flower. So this my hand does not merge with the flower. And then I look at these flowers. Okay, the flower means the visible tree, this flower. I look at this flower, So my mind does not merge with the flower. No, my mind is like the one foot away from the flower. It doesn't merge. It doesn't merge with the flower, but it interacts. It interacts. It doesn't merge. How does it interact? This is in the form of the three conditions for the sense consciousnesses. It requires sense consciousness. It requires three conditions: the stimulus, the medium, which connects to the medium sense power, and then the consciousness. Then so this is about how the consciousnesses arise, but depends on the object. Consciousness in the form of the subject arises, but depends on the object, that is through the medium of the sense power. This is not that difficult. So the difficult thing is about how how karma in the form of subject, that influences the object. Say like, okay, somebody who's so virtuous, who is so positively energized by the virtuous karma, richly virtuous karma, so rich in virtuous karma. When this person comes, all the complications, fights, everything automatically subsides. Coronavirus subsides. Somehow it disappears on its own. These things happen. So how does this karma operate there? Karma meaning your mind, which is the subject. Your mind heavily, energized by the karma, the positive karma, how that influences the tangible objects. This karma is non-tangible object. Your mind is the non-tangible object. How that interacts with the tangible objects. So there, the purely from the ordinary explanation is very difficult. So scientifically we say no, this is accidental. Not because of this person. It's purely accidental, right? So because they will explain. Anyway, science, keep in mind, science explains how, not why. How that happens? Because of the weather, and because the coronavirus, it becomes weak, and because that the tiny sheet which wraps this DNA molecule, this sheet, it bursts and then it dies. This is how. It's not how why. Whereas why this happens is because of this person who is enriched with so much of virtuous karma that come, it influences the whole thing. How does it happen? Scientifically, there's no explanation. How does this happen? For that, we have to know that the mind is operating on what is known as a very subtle energy. Subtle energy, and the energy has various levels. Even these, like the external flower, coronavirus, they are also in the form of energy. I'm not just metaphorically speaking. It's this very gross energy, very gross, in other words, very gross tangible phenomena. And then this very gross physical object, then there's the mediocre the body or the energy, and the very subtle energy. The mind, energy which accompanies the mind. Mind is very subtle. That affects the karmic energy. That affects the mediocre energy. The mediocre energy, they affects the external object. This is how it works. Okay, maybe then the last question. Tenzi Domala. How does Prasangika posit existence of flower on a conventional level with the absence of the mind cognizing the flower? Which definition are used to establish such existence? Okay, this is a good question. How does Prasangika posit existence of flower on a conventional level with the absence of the mind cognizing the flower? Okay, let's say. So this is quite the debate that happens amongst the scholars and among the people who are studying the Prasangika philosophy. Say we are all here, and then the Amazon forest is on fire, whether intentionally or unintentionally, it was on fire. It was on blaze, huge blaze. No human being get there, and then there's the tiny flower there. It's on the verge to be burned, and nobody's around. Everything is in fire. So somewhere in the just up in a pocket of a small land, a small pocket of a land, there lies a flower. And how do we know that this flower exists? The flower, on the conventional level, with the absence of a mind. There's no mind seeing this flower there. The mind, everybody ran away. Everybody ran away scared of this fire. So they ran away. This poor flower, poor single flower is lying there in this small area pocket in the middle of the fire. So how do we know that this flower exists? What imputes? The question is, how does Prasanga posit the existence of this flower on the conventional level with the absence of the mind cognizing the flower? Okay, so there's no, it is not that this mind, it's not that the mind cognizing the flower is absent. The mind cognizing the flower at that point is absent, at that time is absent. So with the flower, simultaneously they may not be the mind cognizing it. So I told you earlier, in the earlier question, okay, in the earlier question, what I said is that the imputer, what imputes, can exist before what is imputed. And what imputes can be with the what imputed, simultaneous. What imputes can be after what is imputed. So this is what Lama Tsongkhapa mentioned in, is not the creativity. It is what Lama Tsongkhapa taught in his text in Tibetan Lekshe Nyingpo, Essence of the Eloquent Speech. So there he clearly mentioned this. It is not necessary that what imputes should be always after. It can be together, after, before. Okay. So now when you say that that how is that flower posited? How is that flower posited when the mind imputing it is absent? At that time, fine. But you are imputing now. You know that there's a flower there. You know that there's a flower there, so you are imputing it. So although this flower is now dead already, it's already burned already, but you know that there was a flower once there. So now you are imputing this way after the flower exists. You are imputing way after the flower existed. You are imputing. So imputed, what imputes comes after the imputed. Okay. This is something that you have to do a little bit of exercise, think more about it, see the emptiness, again think more about it, again see the emptiness, how that nothing really exists objectively, still things, operate. Only if the understanding of emptiness deepens, you gain conviction that things don't really exist objectively. You gain deep conviction about this, and then your job is to see how the functionality operates. If nothing exists objectively, how the functionality operates. So this is another journey. After seeing emptiness, then the positing the functionality. Together, then gradually, the question by Tizudumala can be, you will get the answer satisfactorily or convincingly. So maybe the last one, there's one question from Om Soha. Okay. Question, I feel breathless and tense during the emptiness meditation. Okay. So generally speaking, what I say is that when you do the meditation emptiness, the safest thing is that don't hurry up for the meditation emptiness. Hurry up for the study and reflection on the emptiness. That's very important. Focus on the study and reflection on emptiness, and particularly very systematic, not just randomly from one of the 5-day teaching from this person, 2-day teaching from this person, 2-day teaching from another person. Don't do like this. There's no harm in doing these things, but the basic framework must be a very systematic studies. If possible, Acharya Chandrakriti's text, Entry into the Middle Way, or Madhyamika Avatar. This must be done. Okay. With this, then when they say with your rich study and reflection, systematic study and reflection, when you meditate, then if you get these experiences, I would say that if these experiences are really, really, really overwhelmingly uneasy, overwhelmingly disturbing, stop and focus more on studies and reflection. And then say where all the people, they respect your knowledge of emptiness. Wow, your experience is so profound. Even the Geshes and Kembos, they say, wow, your experience of emptiness is profound. And then you meditate. If you still have this problem, then come to me. Till that point, just study the emptiness for 5 days. This is nothing. and then these experiences can come. Sometimes, say with a little exposure of emptiness, like few days of study of emptiness, then you meditate on this, and then something like some like the illusory like feeling. These things can come initially. These things can come anyway. I don't know about I won't really touch on this too much into the breathlessness, but say this one, illusory like feeling. These things can, if these things happen, you are very fortunate. It doesn't mean that you are too close to emptiness, but you are very fortunate. You are somewhere in a proper track. This is an indication that you need more systematic study and reflection. For the breathlessness and tense, I would say that this is going more into, say, in a way, it's a good indication that it is like creating a clash. This meditation is clashing with the a chronic self-grasping ignorance. There's a clash there. This clash, when there's always, if somebody says that, what a stupid thing that you're saying, instantly you will shrink. You shrink, and if you stay in this mode for few minutes, then you feel pain, start to feel pain, tense. You feel the tense, and then you stop breathing, you start to feel breathless, because there's a challenge happening. When this challenge happens, this is the reaction. This is our reaction. So this reaction is happening, displayed within us, when there's a challenge happening between the emptiness meditation, which you are doing newly, with the old habit of the belief in self-grasping ignorance. When there's a clash happening, this is a very good indication from that point of view. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, all of us, all of you. So we'll do a quick, we'll go do a dedication prayer. And first of all, I'd like to thank Choe Khor Sum Ling Buddhist Center, Bangalore, particularly Shandi Yajnikji, who herself displays what as the layperson should be doing, how to utilize your time in dharma, systematic studies, reflection, then meditation, plus plus compassion in action, and really sacrificing her time, energy, resources by running the center, Choe Khor Sum Ling Center, which is a part of FBMT under Lama Subarimbuche. This is an amazing example. Shandi Yajniji is an incredibly great, amazingly great example for all of us. So when such a request comes from such a person like Shandi Yajniji, I can't really say no. For example, last year, Shandi Yajniji was asking me if there is a way by which our center can attract more of the youngsters. I cannot say no to this person, because how she is so pure, so dedicated for dharma and for sentient beings. If I cannot really support 100% full time, at least I cannot say no. So this is who this Shandi Yajniji is, the director of Choe Khor Sum Ling. I've been knowing her for all these many years. I really, really, really appreciate her pursuit of the journey of the dharma, and in practical sense, how she is serving the compassion in action, serving this center, and how many people have benefited out of that. I really appreciate my deep adoration, my respect to Shandi Yajniji and Shandi Gobinarji for all these many years of her service. And then today we have SPC, Abanji, and again, she has been very passionate since last year. She was so passionately in a way, bulldozing me that, okay, Geshe-la, what is the next topic? What? It's not like everything is, I'm just there for Choe Khor Sum Ling. This says, how she is pushing me to help the people in Choe Khor Sum Ling, people who are, and then this time after because of lockdown, then again she was making sure not to spare me. They again sending me a letter directly saying, okay, so I'm extremely appreciative of Abanji's effort, and there are many of the people that I know and who have been working wholeheartedly for the center, and I don't want to miss any of the names there, but the point is that you're all of you who are who are there to volunteer to make this center so active. You're always in my heart. My prayers are with you always. And please continue. Please continue to inspire the many others the way you're doing now. Okay, then let us pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. That all the leaders of the world at the moment who are so sucked up in the personal gains and so forth, just one's own nation or one's own personal party and so forth, let us pray that all of them learn from His Holiness the Dalai Lama how to think about the world, how to think about your nation plus the world, not the nation in isolation, your personal interest in isolation, just keeping aside, ignoring the well-being of the nation. So this is what we pray, that the people, the leaders of all over the world, they learn from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Okay, this should be our prayer. And then let us also pray that all these the legacy holders of the erstwhile Nalanda tradition, the big monastic universities like Sakya, Kakyu, Nyingma, Gelug, and all the monastic universities where the Nalanda legacies are being studied, reflected and meditated and replicated in true sense of the word. Let all these Dharma centers, let all these learning centers, monastic learning centers, they thrive in the activities of learning, reflection, and meditation. And likewise, may all these Dharma centers such as CKSL, Choe Khor Sum Ling, and all the Dharma centers all over the world who are doing great service to Buddha Dharma, let their activities thrive, and that as many ordinary people be benefited out of these centers. And let me personally dedicate the merits thus gathered, that each one of you, through your concerted effort in the systematic studies, reflection, meditation on the wisdom of emptiness and bodhicitta, may you soon see the dawn of the wisdom of emptiness and the bodhicitta within yourself, and that each one of you become such a reliable guide to lead all the dear mother sentient beings towards the ultimate happiness and the state of the total fearlessness and the ultimate happiness very soon. May the teaching of bodhicitta flourish and thrive in the minds of all dear mother sentient beings, present and future. May the teaching on the wisdom of emptiness thrive in the minds of all dear mother sentient beings. Okay, with this in mind, let us do some recitations from this, as the dedication prayer, page 288. Okay. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful charities say Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Chanjo samjo remboche ma ge banam ge gyoroche ge ba nyam ba me ba ya kone kondo pe bara sho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen arise and grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds in the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of Dharma, teaching and realization. May I, in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect within the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I should always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and auspicience proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the fraternal Buddha, Dharma, and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder, Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who hereby merit through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Ramanjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Deta Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswaha. Okay, thank you, one and all. Thank you so much. See you sometime in some place. Bye-bye.